Thank you.
Next, please.
Hey, would you just look at it? What a pretty bike. I know that goblin vomit green isn't to everyone's tastes, but it certainly is to mine. There was no way I was going to get a Ninja in a different color. Hell yeah! Full tank of fuel, tires pumped up nicely. We are good to go, boys and girls and everyone else. Yo, what is up, guys? Today we're going to talk about why the Kawasaki Ninja 400 and the Yamaha YZF R3 are the kings of the learner class. For reference, I've owned a 2016 Yamaha R3 and I now own a 2018 Ninja 400. Jesus Christ, what the f*** is that? Holy f***. That's cooked. Alright, we're going to start with power. We're going to answer that burning question on everybody's mind. Is it enough? In my opinion, yes, it's plenty. It's fine for a beginner. The only place that the R3 and the Ninja 400 potentially fall short is on the freeway. But even then, it's sufficient. It gets the job done. 90% of my commute is on the freeway and I still daily this thing. So it's all good. I'm not going to say it's ideal though. If you are going to be eating up freeway miles the entire time you're on your motorcycle, if you don't really have much of an interest in going to the track or taking out into the canyons every now and again, if it's pure commuting, pure touring, and you're going to be on the freeway a lot, you're probably better off getting something like a Ninja 500 or a Ninja 650, but the R3 and the Ninja 400 are perfectly sufficient for the freeway. I'm not going to lie, you can definitely feel the extra 80 cc's that is given to you with the Ninja 400 over the R3, but they're quite similar in their behavior. And what you get with that is very manageable power output and torque. It's a 400, it's a 300, the power figures aren't crazy, but it's a parallel twin, so you kind of get a more instantaneous pickup in torque and power when compared to something like an inline 4. It means you don't have to be banging limited just to be getting to your peak power. But that being said, they are still low capacity bikes, so you get to wring them out and have fun with them as you would with an inline 4. Being 320cc and 400cc means if you make a mistake, if you make an error in your judgment, if you twist that wrist too far, you're still going to be relatively safe compared to if you were on a 600cc Super Sport or obviously a leader bike. There's a much larger margin of error by virtue of having less power available to you. And if you're a learner, man, that is what you need. You'll come across people who will tell you like, oh, it's about the rider, it's about the discipline. And you know, anyone can start on a 600 on a leader bike, and yeah, that's fine, that's their prerogative, but I don't buy that. I think that's bullshit. Like, you can be the safest person in the world, and you know, you'll be less inclined to make a mistake. You're less likely to make a mistake, but you're a learner, you're gonna make mistakes. It's just how it's in the definition of being a beginner rider, you know. And the power given to you by the R3 and the 400 will protect you from your own inexperience, your lack of talent, and the fact that you're a learner. A 600cc Super Sport or a liter bike will chew you up and spit you out the moment you make an error. These bikes are just a lot easier. They're a lot more manageable in the way they deliver their power for a learner to kind of wrap their head around it. Oh, I really was not sure if he was going to pull out in front of me or not. So yes, I'm harping on about how great this lack of power is, especially if you're a beginner, but I do actually think there is such thing as not enough power, and that's why the R3 and the 400 rank above the 250cc class, in my opinion. On the freeway, it's just uncomfortable. Like, the R3 and the 400 are sufficient, but the 250 class just is not. Like, yes, you can definitely get to 100, 110, that's fine, but ultimately you just don't have the capacity.
So we don't have the capacity
for it to be a comfortable journey. When you're on a 250cc, it really feels like you are just teetering on the edge of that engine's capabilities, just to sit at the speed limit. And the moment you need access to some power to get moving real quick to avoid a sticky situation or make a smooth, efficient overtake, you just don't have it available to you because it's a 250. But with the R3 and the 400, it is there. So that's why the power on these two bikes is actually pretty good. And I talked about it first just because you see so many people debating about whether it's enough or not. So there you have it. In my eyes, it's plenty, it's fine. Next, we're going to talk about cost. Now, this is a massive reason as to why these two are kings of their class. We've got two lower capacity, reliable Japanese motorcycles. They are cheap. There's no other way to put it. They are really accessible. The barriers of entry are super low. Even off the showroom floor, the prices aren't crazy, so it's definitely accessible. If you're someone who's never ridden before and you want to try motorcycling, these bikes are great to start with because you just don't have to sink that much of an initial cost into them, even if you're buying brand new. Now, that's a different discussion. Personally, I would never buy your first bike or two brand new. I got this secondhand, and the beauty of buying it secondhand is these bikes are already kind of cheap. They're not going to depreciate that much more than what you'll buy it at for a secondhand price. So worst comes to worst, you give motorcycling a go, you don't like it, it doesn't matter. You can recover a good portion of your money so long as you don't inundate the odometer with many kilometers or crash the thing. Now, you're also going to be saving money on parts. These are kind of like the Corollas and the Camrys of the motorcycle world, which means there is an abundance of parts, there is a massive aftermarket, and these are generally quite cheap compared to their more precious competitors. They're also just, they're generally known to be quite reliable and bulletproof so long as you maintain them. Sure, you'll get the occasional lemon, but these manufacturers and these bikes in particular have earned themselves the title of being reliable for a reason. If you look at something like a KTM 390, which is one of the direct competitors of these bikes in this class, no one talks about that being reliable. If anything, all I've heard about those bikes is how unreliable they are. So that's certainly not something that goes towards the KTM's favor in terms of cost. If it's constantly going to be sitting in a garage, you're constantly having to dump money into fixing it, and you're constantly anxious about whether it's going to get you to your destination or not. And finally, in Victoria, I don't know about other states or countries, it's actually cheaper to get the Ninja 400 and the R3 registered compared to bikes like the CBR 500 and the Ninja 650 because they are of a lower capacity. So your registration is cheaper, your insurance is cheaper, and naturally your running costs are just cheaper because they eat less fuel. They've got smaller tire sizes because they're low capacity, so you spend less there. So these two bikes absolutely destroy when it comes to the cost category, and it's a massive barrier of entry for a lot of learners out there. Next up, we've got the ergonomics on these two bikes. So the point is, these bikes are not proper super sport bikes. They may look like it to the untrained eye with these flashy fairings and bright colors, but the fact of the matter is they are commuter sports bikes. And you can tell because of these raised clip-ons, which both the R3 and the 400 have. And what that means is it's really cozy, it's comfy. It means your wrist and your lower back like you a little bit more. You have to spend less on seeing a physio to correct your back. But on the flip side, it's not boring. It's not what I'd call sedentary. It's leagues apart from sitting on some naked bikes which are purely upright. So you kind of get that fun sportiness and that aggressive feel without too much of the pain. Now these two bikes are extremely light. I think they weigh in at around 170 kilos. And what that means is you've just got a super manageable bike. You know, it's perfect for your smaller, shorter riders, and it's perfect for learners who are still very much getting used to the concept of how f***ing heavy motorcycles are. Deceptively heavy. You know, if you've never really sat on a motorcycle and maneuvered it around, they don't look that heavy, but yeah, they really are. And this comes into play when you need to shift it around the place manually, if you're doing low speed maneuvers, if you're trying to balance your bike when you've come to a stop. So the fact that both of these bikes are lightweight helps a lot. They are a fair bit lighter than if you go up into the 650 class. And finally, these things are just a hoot. They're really fun. They're lightweight, they're nimble, they're cheeky, but they've got enough power to do what you need it to do. There's a reason that experienced riders will buy one of these or an R3 and make them dedicated track bikes. You don't find that with a 650 or a CBR 500. But yeah, these things are just fun. So there you have it, guys. That is my opinion on why I think the Ninja 400 and the R3 are dominating the learner class right now. I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate all the support. I will catch you on the next one.
You say you've got them guns, but I've never seen you bang. You say you've got them drugs, but I've never seen you slang.